Hello, other human beings. It is me. And today we are going to do a breakdown of 3 oddly specific ISFP things. The reason I'm doing ISFP second, I did the INFP, 3 oddly specific INFP things last week, and that's doing really well. A lot of people seem to really relate to that, so that made me really happy. The reason I'm coming for ISFP second is because the ISFP is a type that is always going to be close to my heart, because before I really fully put together the fact that I was an INFP, I really thought that I was ISFP for a while. There were certain nuances and little parts of ISFPs that I related to a lot. And the common denominator between the ISFP and the INFP is obviously that introverted feeling dominant function. They have that FI dom. And that's kind of what I knew. I knew that I was an introverted feeling dominant. I've known that pretty much since day one with all this stuff. But I didn't really know how to distinguish which one. So having said that, I've spent a ton of time researching ISFPs, and I've realized that I've had a couple of ISFPs come and go in my life. And there are a couple things I've noticed. There's a couple of oddly specific things I've noticed, just like the INFP thing, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first oddly specific thing for the ISFP personality is that when you're an ISFP, you have your way of doing things. It's like you just know exactly how you like it, right? It doesn't have to be overly complex. It doesn't have to be, it's not like you feel like you're going to lose your mind if you don't have it that way. I think sometimes ISFPs can feel like they may have some kind of OCD, right? They might be obsessive compulsive because they really like to have things ordered in their way. It's not like having it all in the right place. It's just having it in your place. You like to put things together the way that you like to put things together. Your desk might be messy as all hell, but you like to have it your kind of mess. And it's because you've got that introverted feeling. It feels, you're making judgments off what feels right to you, but it's connected to your environment, right? That's one of the biggest differences for the ISFP and the INFP. The INFP is more, their introverted feeling is connected to that extroverted intuition, and they're picking up all these different patterns that are happening, where the ISFP is usually a lot more grounded, right? They still got that introverted intuition in that third slot, but their extroverted sensing is more plugged into the space, and that's why ISFPs can have just like beautiful spaces. They can be beautiful at designing and organizing the layout of a place, of a space. They've just got that connected to how they feel about it. So that's the first thing. ISFPs, you like your way of doing it, right? ISFPs, like I said, I went on a tangent there, but like I said, they can feel like sometimes they're OCD, or like, oh, maybe I'm like OCD and I can't, but it's like, it's not like that for ISFPs most of the time, I don't think. I don't think it's an OCD thing at all. I think it's just, you know how you feel about your space. You know how you like to have your environment. You know how you like to keep it, right? And that's because it feels right to you, and that's a good thing, ISFP. You know, that's an amazing thing. It's amazing that you know how you want your environment to be and what you want your environment to depict and what feels right for you. So, yeah, that's the first thing. ISFPs, I noticed that you like to have things the way you like to have them. You know, it's kind of, it's a bit of your, it's part of your quirk. The second oddly specific ISFP thing is that ISFP, you can find the magic in life. You're able to connect to life in a way where you find the magic, but, and there's a caveat, you like to find that magic at your own pace, right? You can find the magic in life. You can connect to what's going on around you. You can make sense of it. You have your own way of taking what's going on inside of your experience and putting it out into the world. You know what magic is, right? You're not the kind of person who's completely disconnected from anything beautiful. You're finding things beautiful a million times a day. But you have your own way of doing it, right? You have your own way of finding magic, and it has to be at your own pace. I noticed that the ISFPs I've known, they don't fare very well when people try to encroach time periods on them. And that's the thing. For you as an ISFP, your pace might be perfectly on par with the rest of the world. That's why you might be great in your workplace. You might already be doing really well and thriving. But I think for a lot of ISFPs, there is that more introverted quality as well. There is that sense of wanting to put things together for yourself and make things work for yourself. So you need to find that magic at your own pace. So that's the second thing. You have a connection to the magic in life. You know what you love about life, but you need your own rhythm. You march to the beat of your own drum a little bit. And that's the same with the INFPs, right? That's why it can sometimes be difficult to distinguish them energetically with how they feel. They both march to the beat of their own drum. They like to do what they like to do because we're FI DOMs. We make decisions based on what feels right to us, not based on what's the right thing to do necessarily. It's what feels right for us, right? So that's the second one. The third oddly specific thing for the ISFP personality is that you're going to be having a conversation with someone. You're going to be having a DNM, right? You're going to be going in depth with someone and they're going to be sharing something with you. And you feel like you can understand it. You feel like you get what they say. And it's not just that you're hearing them and you can make sense of the words and it's like, oh yeah, right, I get it. It's like you can really feel it inside of yourself. You can really feel what they're saying. And it's almost like it reminds you of something or you can relate it to something inside of yourself. But then the weirdest thing can happen where although you're able to tap into it, there's almost like this distance between how you're able to tune into that thing yourself and then being able to communicate it back. And I've noticed this when I speak to ISFPs sometimes. I can talk to them about the deepest thing and I know they get what I mean. I know they're hearing me. I know they're understanding me. I'm sensitive enough to know that this person is listening to what I'm saying. But then they'll kind of just generalize after, or like you'll say all this stuff. You'll pour your heart out to an ISFP. I'll pour my heart out to you guys. And then you guys will say something like, yeah, being a human can be really tough. Or you'll say something like, oh yeah, wow, it's funny how the mind works. It's just like this broad statement. And it's not that, again, it's not because I think I overwhelmed them and they didn't get what I meant. The sense that I get is that it's like you don't necessarily always feel confident in your ability to communicate the fact that you understand what you understand. You don't necessarily feel confident all the time to really let what you think out and to be really honest about it and to express it to other people. And that's just something I noticed that's really funny with the ISFPs and the difference between maybe like an ISFP and an INFP, right? I think for the INFPs, like we sometimes might not really want to respond to it. We might just consciously choose to tune out. But if we do want to connect, it's almost like we'll find our own way of navigating that. And there's kind of like, I notice there's often an internalized, maybe not always, but often an internalized sense of trust in our own opinion. Because it's like a very personalized version of that opinion. And it might not relate, so it doesn't have that safety that generalizing does. But I notice for ISFPs, it's like there's sometimes not really a trust in like your guys' ability to really make sense of it and communicate that thing out. And I think that this can be really difficult for ISFPs sometimes because you know you have all this creative expression inside of you. You know you have all this depth. But sometimes you can't really communicate that depth and you can't really communicate that level of understanding to other people with ease. And I think it can cause sort of like an identity conflict in a way where it's like, do I really know who I am? Do I really know, am I really this person? Because it's almost like I have a relationship to all this depth, but I don't always know how to get that out and put that into the world and communicate that to other people. And because you've got that extroverted sensing as your parent function, that's what you want to do. You want to connect to the world. That's what you're amazing at. You make the world beautiful. You make beautiful art. That's why you're called the artist. And it doesn't have to just be art in terms of painting or making music, but you have art in the way that you can communicate with other people. You have art in the way that you can organize your home. You have art in the way that you can make a playlist that really just depicts something that you're feeling and an expression that you're going through. But I think what you need to do, ISFP, is you need to be confident in your ability to actually get that out of you and put that out into the world. And you need to be okay with making mistakes in those conversations. Now, I'm sorry this is turning into a kind of a rant. We'll finish up there, but you need to be okay with just what you think about that thing. You don't have to worry about if it's the right thing to say or if it's the thing that perfectly captures all of your depth and nuance. You just need to say what you think in that situation. And I think that that's where you're going to find your inner confidence there. So that's the third one. ISFPs, sometimes you've got a lot going on inside, but you don't really know how to get it out sometimes. I think this can be a difficulty for ISFPs and INFPs and probably other types as well, I think, in certain ways. But we'll talk about that another time. All right, cool. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed and just been really supportive with the last couple of videos. I'm really happy about that, and I'm going to be doing videos on every personality type, and I've got a lot of fun stuff planned for the future, so stick around for that. If you liked this, if you got value out of this video, please subscribe and help me build up the channel. Like the video and share this to anyone you feel like would get value out of it. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and that's me.